I am sitting on the porch of my small apartment holding a cup of coffee watching the morning light spread across the yard. There is a wooden rocking chair beside me, one I built with my own hands 8 years ago. Megan used to sit in it every evening. She told me this would be our home forever. I believed her. I believed every word. Until the day she placed those divorce papers in front of me and said, "We got married too young, Bernard." 6 months later, she was kneeling at my door begging me to take her back. But by then, I was already a different man. Before I begin this story, I want to ask you something. Where are you watching from today? Drop a comment and let me know. If stories about love, betrayal, and finding yourself again speak to your heart, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. Now, let me take you back to the beginning. Back to the day I met Megan, to the moment she walked away, and to that strange afternoon when I finally understood that sometimes losing everything is the only way to find what truly matters. I met Megan when I was 21 years old. It happened at a small coffee shop in Portland, Oregon. I was working as an apprentice at a woodworking shop back then, learning the craft from an old Italian-American man named Sal. That afternoon I had spread my design sketches across a table near the window studying them while sipping black coffee. She came out of nowhere. Nowhere. A young woman with auburn hair and a distracted look on her face carrying a large latte. She bumped into my table, and the coffee spilled everywhere, soaking my drawings completely. I remember watching the brown liquid spread across months of work. Megan was mortified. She kept apologizing, her cheeks turning red, her hands trembling as she tried to wipe the mess with napkins. But I just laughed. I looked at the ruined sketches and said, "Maybe the universe wants me to draw these again, but better this time." That made her smile. Made her smile. Made her smile. We started talking, and 3 hours passed like minutes. She was a senior in college, studying marketing. She had dreams of building something meaningful, of making her mark on the world. I told her about my hands, about how I wanted to create furniture that would last generations. By the time the coffee shop closed, I had her phone number, and she had my heart. We dated for 2 years. Our love was simple but deep. I worked long hours, and came home with sawdust in my hair. But Megan never complained. She used to say, "I do not need the richest man, Bernard. I need the man who loves me the most." And I did. I loved her with everything I had. On her 23rd birthday, I gave her a gift I had spent 4 months making in secret. It was a rocking chair carved from reclaimed oak with delicate floral patterns along the armrests. When she saw it, she cried. She said it was the most beautiful thing anyone had ever given her. We got married that same year. The ceremony was small, held in the backyard of my mother Carol's house. There were no fancy decorations, no expensive catering. Just family, friends, wildflowers, and more laughter than I thought possible. When I read my vows, I promised Megan that I would build her a life with my own 2 hands. She promised to stand beside me through everything. For 6 years we kept those promises. We bought a small house on the outskirts of Portland with a mortgage that stretched our budget thin. I became a lead carpenter at Sal's shop, taking on bigger projects, earning steady pay. Megan worked as a marketing coordinator for a local company. We were not rich, but we had enough. Every Sunday morning, we cooked breakfast together. I taught her my mother's pancake recipe, the one with buttermilk and a hint of vanilla. She burned the first pancake every single time, and every single time we laughed about it. We adopted a golden Labrador named Rusty, who became the 3rd member of our little family. We talked about having children in a year or 2 once I saved enough to open my own woodworking shop. Megan said she would handle the marketing for my business. We had it all planned out. Then Derek Lawson came back into her life. Derek was Megan's high school boyfriend. They dated for 2 years before he left for college in California. Megan told me about him early in our relationship. She described him as ambitious, driven, obsessed with money and status. He never really saw me, she said. He only saw what I could add to his image. That is why I left him. I thought that chapter was closed. But 6 years into our marriage, Derek found Megan on social media. He sent her a message, casual and friendly, saying he was back in Portland visiting family and wanted to reconnect with old friends. His profile was filled with pictures of a Porsche, a white mansion in Los Angeles, a yacht, trips to Europe. He called himself a successful real estate investor. Megan mentioned it to me that evening. She showed me his message and laughed. "Just an old friend catching up," she said. Nothing to worry about. I trusted her. I had no reason not to. She met Derek for coffee the following week, and when she came home, she seemed fine, normal. But looking back, I realized something shifted that day. Something I was too blind to see. Over the next few weeks, Megan started to change. She would walk through our house and sigh, looking at our second-hand furniture with disappointment. She asked me questions that confused me. "Do you ever think you deserve more than this, Bernard? Do you ever feel like you are settling?" I did not understand what she meant. I loved our life. I loved our home. But she started coming home late from work, saying she had extra meetings. She began turning her phone face down whenever a notification came through. The Sunday morning pancakes stopped. Rusty would run to the door when she arrived, tail wagging, but she barely acknowledged him anymore. I tried to fix things. I asked her if something was wrong, and she said she was just tired. Work was stressful, she claimed. So I did more around the house. I repaired the fence-planted rose bushes, because I knew she liked them, cooked dinner so she could rest. But none of it seemed to reach her. She looked at me like I was a stranger, like the life we built together was a cage she needed to escape. A coldness settled into our home. I told myself it was just a rough patch. Every marriage has them, but deep down, in a place I did not want to visit, I knew something was breaking apart. The night that changed everything was in October. I had worked a 12-hour shift, finishing a custom dining table for a client. On the way home, I stopped at a florist and bought a bouquet of pink carnations. Megan's favorite. I wanted to surprise her, to remind her that I was still here, still trying, still loving her. When I walked through the front door, the house was silent. No dinner cooking, no television playing. I found Megan sitting at the kitchen table, her face pale and expressionless. In front of her was a stack of papers. She pushed them toward me without a word. I set down the flowers and picked up the documents. My hands went numb when I realized what I was holding. Divorce papers. "Megan," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "Is this some kind of joke?" She shook her head. "I have thought about this for a long time. We got married too young, Bernard. I never got the chance to really live. To find out who I am outside of this. 6 years." I could hardly get the words out. "We have been together 6 years, and you are just now realizing this. I am sorry." Her voice was flat, rehearsed. "But I cannot keep pretending to be happy." Pretending. The word hit me like a punch to the chest. "You are telling me everything we had was pretending." She did not answer. She just stared at the table. In the days that followed, I tried to talk to her. To understand. But Megan had already moved her belongings into the guest room. She slept there, coming and going like a ghost in our own home. One night, I saw her phone light up on the coffee table while she was in the shower. The name on the screen made my stomach drop. Derek, followed by a red heart emoji. I confronted her that night. I asked her directly if Derek was the reason she wanted to leave. She hesitated, then nodded. "He showed me what life could be like," she said. "He has vision. He has ambition. He is going to take me to Los Angeles. We are going to build something amazing together." "And what about us?" I asked. "What about everything I have done, everything we built?" She looked at me with something like pity. "You are a good man, Bernard. But you are not the man I need." Those words will stay with me forever. Not because they were cruel, but because she believed them. She genuinely believed that a man who showed her pictures of fancy cars and mansions was worth more than a man who had spent 6 years building a life with her, one careful piece at a time. I did not beg her to stay. What would be the point? You cannot force someone to love you. You cannot convince someone to see your worth if they have already decided you have none. So I signed the papers. My hand trembled, but I signed them. 2 weeks later, Megan packed her bags. She took her clothes, her jewelry, her personal things. She left behind the rocking chair I made for her. She did not even look at it as she walked out the door. Rusty barked a few times, confused, then sat down and whimpered. I stood at the window and watched her drive away. She never looked back. 3 days later, I saw her post on social media. A photo of her standing in front of a gleaming white mansion. Derek's arm around her waist, both of them smiling like they had won the lottery. The caption read, "New chapter begins." I deleted my social media accounts that night and never opened them again. The weeks after Megan left were the darkest of my life. The house felt enormous and empty. I would lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, running through every moment of our marriage, searching for the signs I missed. Rusty slept on Megan's side of the bed, as if waiting for her to come back. I went to work every day, but I moved like a machine. I did not talk to anyone. I just cut wood, sanded surfaces, assembled joints. Sal noticed. He did not say anything, but he would pat my shoulder when he walked by, a silent gesture of understanding. I questioned everything about myself. Was I not good enough? Not successful enough? Not exciting enough? I sat alone in my garage one night, surrounded by my tools, wondering if any of it mattered anymore. What was the point of building things if the person you built them for did not want them? But I was not completely alone. My buddy Tommy, who worked with me at the shop, showed up at my door one evening with a 6-pack of beer and a pizza. He did not ask how I was feeling. He did not offer advice. He just sat next to me on the couch, and we watched a baseball game in silence for 3 hours. It was exactly what I needed. My mother drove 3 hours from her home to visit me.